Today, we're jumping into a pretty radical spiritual philosophy that asks a really provocative question. What if the key to a truly wonderful life isn't about building things up, but about burning them down? The source material we're digging into suggests that to find real freedom, you have to do the unthinkable. You have to destroy every single bridge that leads back to your old life. So yeah, let's get into it. Our journey really starts with this powerful warning from Jesus Christ. He who looks back while holding the plow is not worthy of entering the kingdom of God. And that's not just some friendly advice, right? That's a serious declaration that pretty much sets the tone for everything else we're going to talk about. This path, it demands absolute, unwavering, forward momentum. There is no turning back. So what is it we're supposed to be escaping from? Well, the text we're looking at today has this pretty startling idea. What we call life isn't really what we think it is. It's actually more like a meticulously designed program, like an invisible prison meant to keep us completely contained.
This program is described as an intricate cave of silken web, and it's designed for one main purpose: survival. But here's the catch. In making sure we survive, it also traps us. It keeps us operating on a purely human level, and that forever blocks us from reaching a higher state of being, what this text calls the kingdom of heaven.
To make this a little more concrete, the source gives these invisible traps a name: the 36-8 diagram arrays. Now, don't get hung up on the jargon. Just think of them as a series of really complex, invisible mazes that are built right into the fabric of our lives. You know, our social structures, our goals, our fears, all of it designed to tightly restrain how we think and what we do. And here's the real kicker. You can't solve these mazes using the same logic that built them in the first place. Trying to think your way out with conventional human thinking is just going to keep you running around in circles, stuck inside the program. The only way out? You have to totally abandon that logic and adopt a whole new way of being. Okay, so if life is a prison, you got to ask, what are the bars made of? Well, according to this philosophy, they aren't forced on us from the outside. Nope, they are the golden chains that we spend our entire lives carefully forging for ourselves, one link at a time, through our constant struggle for possession. And just look at how deep this programming goes. From the moment we're born, we're basically taught that a successful life means you accumulate all the stuff: the knowledge, the job, the family, the house, the money, the status. Inside the program, these are the only things that measure a life well lived. And then, boom, the source just hits us with this huge reality check. After an entire lifetime spent struggling and gathering all this stuff, it all comes down to one simple question. When we die, do we actually possess any of it? It just forces you to face how temporary every single one of these worldly attachments really is. You know, this perspective really shows a fascinating shift in how we see time. When you're young, life feels infinite, right? Like a road that never ends. But for those who are nearing the end of it, the truth becomes crystal clear. That frantic race for possessions was really just a distraction, a dream that's over before you even know it. Time just runs out. So, if attachment is the trap, how in the world do you break free? Well, the source gives us a solution that is both dramatic and totally uncompromising. You have to burn the bridges behind you. Let's be crystal clear about what this means. This isn't just about taking a big risk or, making a bold career move. It is about a complete and irreversible commitment. It is the conscious, deliberate act of eliminating any possibility of ever going back to your old, programmed life. And right here, you can see the stakes laid out plain as day. When you have a safety net, a way to retreat, we just naturally fall back into comfort and inertia. But when that net is gone, when the bridge is just ash, well, that's when our potential is maximized. We are forced to grow, to create a new world, to experience what the source calls a true rebirth. But why is this so unbelievably hard? I mean, why doesn't everybody do it? The text argues it's because our deepest human instincts are literally working against us. Our endless search for comfort and that deep, deep fear of losing what we have, those are the very anchors that keep us chained to the program. They prevent us from ever taking this terrifying but transformative step. Okay, so let's say you do it. You take the leap, the bridges are burned, now what? How do you possibly navigate this brand new territory without a map? The source says you have to follow a completely new kind of guidance. It all comes down to choosing the right teachers. This basically lays out your two options. You can follow human thinking, which is represented here by thinkers like Confucius, who really focus on mastering the world's program.
Or you can adopt what's called celestial thinking by following spiritual masters like Jesus, Buddha, and Laozi. These are the teachers who showed a path to liberation beyond the program. The message here couldn't be more direct. If you want to get a completely different result, you can't learn from people who just got really good at the old system. You have to learn from those who have already broken out of it. They're the only ones who can show you the real way out of the mazes.
And all of this builds to a final, intensely personal choice. This is the part where all these big, abstract ideas come crashing right back into our own lives, forcing us to ask ourselves, what kind of life am I really choosing to live? The source isn't asking if your life is comfortable or if you're successful by society's standards. It's asking a much, much deeper question. Is it wonderful? And the implication here is pretty heavy. A life that's lived entirely within the program, by its very definition, simply cannot be. Now, this is a pretty provocative comparison, I know, but it's designed to completely shatter our perception of what success is. I mean, we can look at a well-fed pig in a comfortable pen and say it has a good life. But from our human perspective, we see its confinement and we know its ultimate fate, and it's nothing short of a tragedy. And that leads to maybe the most challenging question in this whole thing. If a life that's just confined to eating, sleeping, and seeking comfort within a limited space is a tragedy for an animal, then why on earth would we see our own programmed lives, spent just chasing possessions and comfort inside that cave of silken web, as anything different? So what's the ultimate cost of staying inside the program? It's a life that doesn't end with clarity. It ends with nostalgia, with regret, and with a deep, nagging fear of the unknown. It's the risk of having lived in vain, where your final destination is a complete and total mystery. And so we have to end right here, standing at the edge of the bridge. After exploring the program, the trap of possession, and the path to real liberation, this entire radical philosophy all boils down to this one personal and potentially life-changing question for you. Do you dare to burn the bridges behind you? Because as the source makes very, very clear, the choice is entirely yours.